I think I'm going to start teaching comedy. Okay, so comedy is very new. It really, you could trace its roots back to George Carlin and Richard Pryor in the early 70s as like one guy on stage in a big theater and he's selling tickets and people are just seeing him, right? So you can trace it back to the dawn of time, but really the modern stand-up, early 70s, is a good starting point, right? So it's a very new medium compared to music and film, right? It's very new. So I sort of view George Carlin and Richard Pryor as they're John the Baptist, right? And Jesus isn't here yet. And it's this new evolving medium. And unlike music, we don't have a language yet. So we need a language of like, okay, what are the joke types and how do you write that down? How do you configure it? There's too much magical thinking around stand-up comedy. You know, that idea that, oh, I just came up with it. It's just, yeah, but actually learning how jokes work and systematizing and analyzing them, I think really helps. So I've been working on a book with Amanda Baker, who helped me on my first book. We've been working on a thing together for the last couple of years, trying to teach comedy. And I think there's a real benefit to it. Because if you think about music in schools, right, we'd all argue learning music's great, right? It's a great idea. Teach a kid the piano, grade 3, they learn something about music and they'll appreciate music much more in life. I think comedy is much more relevant, right? What does comedy teach you, right? It teaches you, you learn to you find yourself and you find your voice and you learn to communicate your ideas and to order them and write them down and to communicate. It's very valuable. Like the great tragedy of life is most people live and die and never hear their own voice.